Hi everyone, my name's Scott Edwards, PGA professional here at Riyadh Golf Club in Saudi Arabia, and I'm here with Golf Digest Middle East to talk you through the bunker shot. Now before we go to play the shot, we need to make sure we're using the right type of club. Typically, for these greenside bunker shots, the edge, or what we call the lip of the bunker, can be quite high. So we want to use a club which has enough loft so we don't have to work too hard to get the ball up and out of the bunker. Typically for this, we're going to use a sand wedge, which usually sits somewhere between sort of 54 and 56 degrees. Or we can even use a lob wedge, which can go up as high as 62 or 64 degrees. The reason why we want to use one of these not only is to get over the lip of the bunker, but typically these clubs have quite a high bounce angle. Now remember from the pitching session, the bounce angle is the difference from the trailing edge of the club to the leading edge of the club. The greater this bounce angle, the more the club is going to push itself out of the sand. Why is that important? Well, when we're hitting shots from the sand, the club interacts far differently to what happens when we hit shots from the ground. The sand gives way a lot more, so that club is going to try and dig in. So we want to utilize that bounce angle to stop the club going too deep into the sand and to push itself back out. So now we've got our sand wedge or lob wedge. We want to set up in a way which is going to make it as easy as possible to consistently hit this ball out of the bunker. The way we play a bunker shot is a little different. Instead of hitting the ball first, we're actually trying to hit the sand 1 to 2 golf ball widths behind the ball itself. The ball position, where it's placed between the feet, is going to be further towards our front foot. For us right-handed golfers, I'm going to try and place it more in line with my left chest. My feet are going to be about as wide as my shoulders, or maybe even slightly wider, to make sure I'm nice and stable. And I can slightly shuffle my feet into the sand too, to give me again that nice stable base, slightly lowers my center of gravity, and also I can get a bit of a feel for the sand, whether it's nice and soft, whether it's a bit firm, if there's very, very deep sand, or if it's quite shallow. I'm then going to place a little bit more weight on my left side, so 60 to even maybe up to 80% of my weight on my left leg, on my front foot. And as I swing, I want to try and keep my weight on this side the whole time. Now, relative to the distance I'm trying to hit the ball, the swing is going to be quite long. Again, that's because we're hitting the sand first, we're not hitting the ball. So all of that energy that we're creating is going into the sand, which then pushes the ball out on like a cushion, rather than going directly to the ball itself. So I'm going to draw a little line for practice here, say about that 1 to 2 golf ball widths behind the ball, getting into that setup. Now, if the sand is very soft, very firm, or if we need to try and get the ball higher, we can slightly twist the face open, get it pointing a bit more to the right for a right-handed golfer. And then I want to retake my grip. If the sand is very firm, or if it's very sort of shallow, there's not much to it, I then want to keep that face a little straighter to help me get the club underneath the ball. So in this instance, I'm going to open up the face a little bit. Now the length of the swing, even though it's a short shot, is going to be here. Back, through, again trying to impact the sand on that line, hopefully push that ball out in that cushion of sand. I see I've finished all my weight on my left side, the same as I would do for a full swing. Lastly, if we're opening the face, twisting it to the right for the right-handed golfer to try and get that ball up a little bit higher, that's not only going to increase the height, it increases the bounce, stopping the club from potentially digging deeper into the sand if it's very soft, very fluffy, but also it may affect the direction. So we might see the ball going a little bit more over to the right-hand side. So we either need to adjust for that by changing our alignment, aligning our body and the club a little bit more over to the left-hand side, or we can experiment with having the handle of the club a little bit lower to the ground. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to set up in line with the flag, open the face of the golf club, lower the handle, and then from here, play my bunker shot. Again, aiming at that point, 1 to 2 ball widths behind the ball.